Before we proceed on to the next two questions, we need to understand the concept of a line of symmetry. A line of symmetry. A line of symmetry is defined as a reflection line that maps a pre-image into itself. Okay, a line of symmetry is a reflection line that maps a pre-image into itself. So let's take a look at what this means. On page 395 of your workbook, you've got an illustration of a rectangle, and you've got some reflection lines that have been drawn on top of the rectangle. One of the reflection lines is a horizontal line, and one of the reflection lines is a vertical line. Let's take some patty paper. Let's go ahead and let's start with the horizontal reflection line. So we'll do what we normally do is draw the line. And then draw the rectangle. Okay, good. And now, as usual, I'm going to flip the patty paper over. I'm going to place the lines so that they line up, and then we're going to see what happens to the images. Okay, I have now lined the horizontal line on the patty paper with the horizontal line on the diagram, and look what happens. We are mapping the reflection of the rectangle directly onto itself. You see how one image is going exactly over the other image. Okay, so this is an example of a line of symmetry of the rectangle. It is a line where when you reflect across it, you end up with the same image. Okay, the pre-image maps into itself. We can also take a look at the vertical line as a reflection line. So let's go ahead, and this time let's draw our vertical line on the patty paper so that it matches the vertical line on the illustration. Okay, and then let's draw in our 4 points of our rectangle. And let's join those points. And then when we're done with this, we're going to turn the patty paper upside down, and we're going to determine the reflection of the rectangle across the vertical line. So we go ahead, turn our patty paper upside down, and just turn it upside down. I'm going to line up the line with the vertical line, so it's perfectly lined up, and look what we find. Once again, we find out that the image is exactly the same as the pre-image. We've mapped our pre-image back into the image by reflecting over the vertical line. So that means that both the horizontal line that is drawn here and the vertical line are lines of symmetry. because they are reflection lines that when you reflect the object across these lines, when you reflect the figure across these lines, you end up with the same figure in the same location. Okay, so these are two lines of symmetry. So we've actually answered already question number 11. So we've, in this illustration, we've answered the question, how many lines of symmetry or reflection does a rectangle have? And the answer is 2. And if you go to the illustration in the workbook, what we were just looking at before is the sketch of that. So let's just go back to question 10, make sure that we know how to answer that one. Describe a triangle that has one line of symmetry or reflection, and sketch it. And the answer to that question would be an isosceles triangle. Okay, so let me draw that. An isosceles triangle is a triangle where two sides are equal and the third side is not necessarily equal. And the line of symmetry of an isosceles triangle is the line that goes through the vertex that touches both of the equal sides and then crosses through the midpoint of the opposite side. So as best as I can draw something like this, that would be the line of symmetry. And as you can see, one side is reflected into the other side. Each of these sides has equal measure because a reflection is an isometry. And down here, each of these smaller line segments from here to here and here to here are also the same size. So the answer to this question, a triangle that has one line of symmetry, would be an isosceles triangle. Okay, this is a concept we're going to be spending a lot more time on triangles. So if this is something that you don't quite get at this point, don't worry about it. We'll have at least a month or more that we will be talking about isosceles triangles.